Hello, hello, everyone. I hope everyone's having a great Saturday morning. And we're here today to talk about how to become a private practice owner or accelerate your practice if that's what you're looking to do. But we have a great program here that we're going to basically talk about. And I'm really excited. So we're live, we're recording. Welcome, welcome. This is for powerpreneurs. What is a powerpreneur? Powerpreneur is a powerful healthcare entrepreneur, and we want to make sure that you understand what are the different types of vehicles out there to make your practice better, or even start one, how to start one and be profitable, successful, and have multiple streams of income, leverage incomes. And that's what it's all about. So I'm going to share a little bit about my journey and who this webinar is for. So who can benefit from this webinar? A brand new practitioner, a seasoned practice owner, or a pharmacist or a healthcare professional wanting to go towards private practice, which is mostly cash-based. And there is other options out there for billing with EHR, and we can talk about that outside of this webinar. But for this webinar sake, we're going to stay more so on the cash-based side and how to build your practice online and offline and make it more seamless. So we've helped about 80 to 90 practice owners and practitioners with our systems. We have Dr. Schwartz here on the left, Lori Schwartz. She says great program and support system. I'm looking forward to being in Utah for the Functional Medicine Symposium in May with my team. So Dr. Lori Valencia Schwartz there. Dr. Naira says she couldn't be happier about having me as her mentor and her power partner. So we've been working together here locally in San Diego area. We have Dr. DD. She wrote me a nice LinkedIn recommendation. She highly recommends my services, and she says I put my heart on my sleeve and help people selflessly. So I'm determined to your success and hold your hand the whole time, never expecting anything in return. If you want someone that keeps their eye on the goal and bulldozes all the obstacles, that would be someone like me that can help you. We have Dr. Neelam Shah. She is an MD and a functional practitioner. She has some great things to say about me too. And I have about 15 to 20 recommendations available on LinkedIn. So you can definitely go check out my profile. Now, what is Powerpreneur and what is it all about? So Powerpreneur is a signature process that we have created, me and my team. And we are a team of about 5 coaches that we've, put together this program with. And it's all about transformation, reinventing yourself. And we want to make sure that we are helping our communities by making a pledge that is within our Powerpreneur program with the practitioners, that we are going to do whatever it takes to keep our communities rejuvenated and reset the health back to their healing potentials. And for that, honestly, we need to think outside of the box. The box that we have right now is really not working. It's keeping us really into a zone where we cannot think outside of it. More so, like, think about this, like, what is the current practice model? Like, you get sick, you go to the emergency room, and then you sit there for hours, and then they might see you, they might not see you, they will probably give you a treatment or not. And one thing I know for sure that you'll get by showing up there is a big bill. Like, that happened to me with my mom. She has glaucoma, and her eye pressure was really bad, and it was hurting from stress or whatever it was. At that time, this was almost 10 years ago, I didn't understand stress as much as I do today. I took her to the emergency room. We sat there for 6 hours, and it was one of the most painful experience. They checked her eyes quickly for a couple minutes. They're like, oh, the pressure in one of the eyes is a little bit higher, but nothing to worry about. You guys can go home. We didn't know what to do, so we just went home. And we were new in the country too at that time. But one thing we did get was a $2,500 bill for sitting there for 6 hours and being seen for 2 minutes. And that is not how we should be practicing medicine. I would be more than happy to pay $200 and sit down with someone who would spend 45 minutes of their time to tell me exactly what to do with my mom's eye pressure, or how to manage stress better, or what's really happening, or like just tell me what to look for. Like, and that's what we need in the community. Like, we do not need thousands and thousands of dollars of bills coming from emergency room, because providers will not see you before like 3-4 months out. Like, you if you have a provider, PCP, you call them and you have something going on that's needs to be taken care right away, what happens? Like, they will tell you to go to the emergency room. Emergency rooms are not sustainable. Anyways, I went back into that whole traumatizing day that we had with my mom. And that's why, there is not just one occasion, there's multiple occasions that things have happened, and I just don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And we're really mortgaging the future of our nation and mortgaging health of our nation. Like, we are a sick country, and we stand number 51 in the world's healthiest countries. So there's 50 countries doing better than us when it comes to actual health, but nobody in the world is spending $7 trillion on healthcare. So there's something missing. Like, the way we're practicing this is not making any sense. A little bit about myself. I am a PharmD. I have a bee farm. So I've spent about 8 years in the pharmaceutical world, only to find out that I wanted to become a functional and nutritional practitioner. How did that happen? So I got into the pharmacy world thinking I needed to really help other people's loved ones, because my godfather got sick from high blood pressure, losing his kidneys to end-stage renal failure, and he eventually passed away in a very short time. It was very painful for me to go to dialysis with him and see him wither away. So I thought, I want to be like him. He was my messiah because he's done so much good, and he's one of the kindest and most humble human being I've met. So I wanted to do more so I can keep other people's loved ones alive for longer. And that's why I picked pharmacy, because I thought I could really understand how these drugs work better to keep people healthy and live longer. Now, what happened was, while I was in pharmacy school, in the last year before graduation, I got extremely sick from stress, because pharmacy school is not easy and there's a lot of stress. So I went to a school that was a block system. It was, 90% pass or fail. And if you even got 89, you failed the test. And if you fail 5, you're out of the school. So that stress was massive, and I got major gut issues. Now, I had already opened my eyes to what I was learning, and I knew that there is a better way already, because pharmacognosy is what I kind of resonated towards, and herbal medicine and Ayurveda was my favorite out of all the learning modules that I had in the 8 years. So what happened eventually was, when I got gut issues, I was again bouncing from doctor to doctor and had no help, because a student insurance is not profitable for doctors to really look at. And eventually I had to figure out how to really take care of myself, change my lifestyle, my diet, my mindset, the stress management. That's where I realized that I wanted to do everything that was shown to me outside of it. So the box that I was in wasn't really working. I wanted to be outside of that box, because I knew the answers were outside of it. And chronic illness became something that I really wanted to work towards for other people, because now I've seen it in my family. I've worked for it on myself, And then I now know a lot more than what a normal pharmacist would know. So went and got certified as a holistic nutritionist and then eventually as a functional practitioner. So that's my why. My why is I want to keep other people's loved ones away from chronic illnesses, or at least have a better plan for them to manage. And that's what gave birth to Sixth Element, which is my private practice that I had started in 2015. And that was my segue. I talked about the gut issues that I really had. I was bedridden. I slept on recliner for 6 months in pharmacy school, stressing about passing my test and then dealing with major illness. So it wasn't easy. Then I started working the retail because, of course, right away you have to worry about bills and you're an adult now, you have responsibilities. But that was me. I had a retail store. Like, I was exhausted. I had chronic fatigue, adrenal fatigue. My adrenals were getting shot. I was drinking coffee by the day and wine by the evening. Gave me more gut issues. So I healed from what I had during pharmacy school, and then kind of fell back into the trap because of the stress from the work. I did not want that anymore. And that's what led to this private practice of mine. I absolutely loved it. I created that from scratch. That's my office. It was so calming and peaceful. And we had, this was a huge facility. It was 3,000 square feet. I just wanted to show you the basic pictures. This was a lot of work. I ran this for 3 years, and then I had a personal challenge, so lost my practice. But now with all this experience and I would say progress and growth and profitability, I realized that there is a way to create a signature process, and that gave birth to Powerpreneur Signature Process, which is a part of Healthpreneur Institute. And what is this institute about? It's about being a one-stop solution for everything that you did not learn in school about entrepreneurship. And this program is something that has been curated by years and years of experience and what works, what doesn't work. And what I've really seen is the biggest challenge is taking action. Like, people pay thousands of dollars, enroll in coaching programs, but then at the end of the day, it's you who has to take the action. So I kind of thought step ahead. The whole I would say point of having this program the way it is because we, my team and other coaches, actually take action for you. And that way we show you how you can actually get results by the small actions that we take. And then, you start seeing the results from it and you're like, wow, this is what we want to do. So what we've done is, why reinvent the wheel when the wheel is already invented? So we've partnered up with American Academy of Functional Health, and we've created a Powerpreneur trademark program, which is a combination available at the Healthpreneur Institute. This is self-paced, it's comprehensive, and the reason why you want to work with us is because we are action takers and we help you with taking action for you. And that's what's missing in a lot of programs out there. Why choose us with the collaboration that we have with American Academy of Functional Health? Because this program is amazing. It's very affordable, and we have combined it with our business coaching program. So American Association of Drugless Practitioners has board certified this program. And then, of course, it's also national certified with health and wellness coaching. So you actually get a course that is full with credentials, and you don't have to go anywhere else to actually find other resources. And that's what the whole point is to be a one-stop solution, have the platter ready for you, and you thrive with your practice, help hundreds of clients to a better health. And just like how I've done. I'm going to play a little bit of Dr. Tal Cohen's video where he talks about the American Academy of Functional Health and how this program is different. So stay tuned here, and I'm going to start playing the video. We'll finish up the program and talk about it after this video. Okay. Hello, Dr. Cohen. Thank you so much for coming on our webinar and helping us understand how to choose a functional medicine program. And as the director of American Academy of Functional Health and a successful functional medicine clinic owner, I'm honored to have you on here. And please help us understand and our people understand how to choose a great program for themselves.
Great, and thank you, Dr. Shah, for inviting me. It's an honor to be invited, and I'm hoping to provide you guys with value today and better understand when you're heading in the direction of integrating or offering functional nutritional medicine to your patients. What would be the benefit of doing that, and how would you pick a program, right? Because there's different programs out there. So thank you for inviting me, and what I'm going to get started with is talking about the 6 tips for choosing a functional medicine program. And the reason why I wanted to focus on that is because there are several programs out there in the field of functional medicine. And however, some of them might not really fit your needs and goals. So we want to make sure that we understand how to pick the right program for you. And I'm going to share with you that based on my experience going through the functional medicine program, integrating it into my clinic, building and growing a large team. And so you're going to get a lot of value from this short time we're going to spend together. I also want to give you a gift. This is something that both me and Dr. Shah wanted to give you. So you're going to get 2 unique gifts from us towards the end of this short little webinar. So stay tuned because you're going to get those gifts from us. So, so just a little bit about where I'm coming from. I received my doctorate in acupuncture and oriental medicine. I later on integrated functional medicine. I had completed a Master of Science in Human Nutrition, Functional Medicine. And I worked in the healthcare field. I combined Chinese medicine, nutrition, herbal medicine for several years. I published a few books and then worked in a few hospitals. And I've been teaching patients and providers conferences and seminars and different programs across the United States. And I'm very, very passionate about it. And however, my beginning was started with a lot of struggle because both me and my wife, you can see her in the picture here, Brandy, we wanted to open a clinic. That was our dream. We worked for years for other clinics or other facilities, and we always had this feeling of helping patients in our own way. And so a few years ago, we opened our practice. That was about 10 years ago. We opened our practice after working for over a decade, working in hospitals and other clinics. We opened our own practice. And what we didn't know is that it wasn't as easy as we thought to get clients and to make a good income from it. But using some of the over time, we have learned how to develop and grow our practice, and we got to have a wonderful practice with multiple providers. We have physicians and nurse practitioners and nutritionists, health coach, acupuncture. We had a team of about 15. It was a beautifully functional integrated medicine clinic, and we were all working together using the functional approach and nutritional approach to help thousands of patients who came to see us from either local or remotely. And many of them, those are some of the pictures you can see here. Patients that suffered from autoimmune conditions such as Crohn's, arthritis, joint pain, patients that had depression, anxiety, and they came to see us because they were looking for solutions. So I was doing nutritional and herbal medicine even before I got into functional medicine. And the reason I actually wanted to seeing how so many of our patients are taking pharmaceuticals, but they are still struggling with chronic symptoms such as fatigue, depression, anxiety, insomnia, chronic pain is keep increasing, diabetes type 2, right? And I really cared for these people, right? I really wanted to make sure that I can truly help them. And I've seen how some of them start with one prescription, years later ending up with like 5 or 6 prescriptions. And in the field of, as you work in the field of pharmacy, you probably saw the same thing, right? You probably saw
Absolutely.
patients that they keep taking drugs, they still struggle. They start with one, they end up with 4 or 5 or more than that. So
Yeah,
right,
it's heartbreaking, Dr. Cohen. I'm telling you, it's really heartbreaking, and it crushes your soul to see that there is a different way out there when you're especially in that box and you can't help them in that way. And that's why there was a big movement in the pharmacy world. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yes, absolutely. I know that's an important thing to mention, because we have these conversations not just with pharmacists that are telling us, reaching out to us and saying, and reaching out to you, Dr. Shah, and saying, you know, I got into healthcare because I really wanted to help people, but I didn't know that I'm going to be so limited in my capacity working in this company that I am right now in just administering the drugs, right? I really want to make sure that I help them to reduce suffering and move towards better health, right? And we know that the pharmaceutical approach is important, and it is essential in managing those patients' conditions. However, are we really helping them to improve their health, right? That's the question that we should all ask ourselves, and that's the reason that I got into functional medicine. I really like this quote that I wanted to share with you by Dr. D. Nornish, the clinical professor of medicine. And he said, our bodies have a remarkable ability to begin healing themselves if we simply stop doing what's causing the problem, right? So when you think about it, what triggered all those clients and patients that come to see? What is driving that disease pathway, right? And is the pharmaceutical approach the solution to what's driving those disease pathways, right? Is it something that they're eating? Is it something in their environment? And so when we look at the functional medicine approach, we first understand that most of those chronic conditions that we're seeing, anywhere from insulin resistance, pulmonary, cardiovascular, autoimmune, neurological, neurodegenerative diseases, arthritis, even cancer, the inflammation, chronic inflammation play a massive role in all those conditions. And unfortunately, these are the leading causes of death in our society. So we really want to help those patients. Yes, we can offer them a pharmaceutical approach to manage those. We can offer some nutritional guidance and some supplement, but the real solution will always be to ask ourselves, what is actually triggering and driving those diseases, right? Because if we solve that part of the puzzle, then we can guide them towards better health, right? And I want to show you a few of the factors that lead to those chronic diseases. That would be mitochondrial function or dysfunction. Neurotransmitters balance, unfortunately, causes many of our patients to feel anxiety, depression. We have hormone imbalance that is very prevalent. Last survey showed about 50% of women above the age of 50 have hormonal imbalance. Environmental exposure or accumulation, that's pretty big. Is their detox pathway working? We know that with everything in our environment, we also know that drugs put an extra load on their detox pathways. What about the integrity of their gut? What happens to those patients, chronic pain patients that are taking NSAIDs? How does that impact the integrity of their gut, right? All the way to some of the side effects of ulcers, right? What about bacterial dysbiosis, fungal dysbiosis? So I want you to start thinking, when you see those patients tomorrow, or the next day you go to work, start asking yourself, what are they actually doing to themselves that keeps aggravating their disease and keeps driving them towards more sickness, and how we can help them by changing direction, right? With the right guidance, you can do it. With the right guidance, you can help them to kind of shift towards better health, right? And we're seeing practitioners, functional medicine practitioners, both pharmacists and nurses and physicians that are now understanding that, and they want to do a better job in truly helping those patients to regain their health. So I wanted to share with you a couple of interesting studies. This one showed that exposure to heavy metals such as lead, cadmium, arsenic, aluminum, and mercury leads to pro-inflammatory reaction. So many of those patients have accumulation of lead from living in older houses, arsenic from rice, mercury from seafood or dental fillings, and their primary care doctor does not talk to them about it. And so when you see chronic patients, such as, for example, patients with diabetes type 2, right? Many of them are prescribed metformin or insulin. However, there's a large-scale survey that was done, found that those patients there's higher level of heavy metals that are associated with higher levels of insulin resistance. So will the pharmaceutical approach, the metformin and insulin, resolve those issues? It's very likely that it won't. And that's one of the reasons why they start with one or two medications, they end up on cardiovascular medication, and the death rates is just significantly higher with those individuals. So that's just an example of what's in our environment. Another one is a connection between BPA and weight gain and insulin resistance. Again, those environmental chemicals are all around us, they're impacting us and they're impacting our patients. Just in case you ask yourself, well, how much am I actually exposed to it? Well, CNN published a special report. It was really interesting, and they reported that globally, we're ingesting an average of 5 grams of plastics from food containers, from water, from other sources in our environment every week. That's the equivalent of a credit card. So imagine, like, every week we literally chew and swallow a whole credit card worth of plastic, right? So that's crazy when we think about it, and that's our patients. And that leads to insulin resistant chronic inflammation. When we look at cellular function, mitochondrial dysfunction is also associated with so many chronic conditions, anywhere from insulin resistant, MS, depression, autism, chronic fatigue, right? So it's really important to learn about those internal factors and external factors, and how do they play a role in those conditions. Another one is we talked about hormones, we mentioned hormones. Your adrenal function is really important. That's something that many doctors don't talk about. It secretes cortisol, which is a powerful anti-inflammatory. And when you look at this interesting study published in 2012, people that had lower cortisol levels because of adrenal dysfunction had higher levels of inflammatory markers in the morning and had more joint pain. That was reported mostly as back pain, right? So next time you see patients that are suffering from chronic pain, ask yourself, what's happening in their body that keeps driving that inflammation and pain? And when you sit with those individuals, it will be a game changer for them to know and understand how they can shift and change direction towards better health. And this is how many of the functional medicine providers make a really good income. When you can sit with clients and provide them with the answer why they're sick that no other pharmacist or doctor or nurse is providing them, and provide them with simple guidance towards better health using nutritional and herbal medicine, and that's all evidence-based approach, then guess what? Then you are their savior. You are the authority. You are the person that have really made a change for them and their family. And that's what we're passionate about. That's what we are here. So that's where I wanted to do for my patients. I wanted to help them. I wanted better quality of life and enjoy their relationships. So I seeked out functional medicine in order to find and address the root cause of my patients' problem. So I started with one program, enrolled in another one. And the problem was that after I invested about 3 years of studying, ongoing studying, and cost me over $30,000 in my functional medicine education, I had so much knowledge about the physiology of all diseases and triggers, but I was also frustrated. And you might ask yourself, well, Paul, why were you frustrated? I mean, you probably gained so much valuable information, right? And I did. But the problem that I had was, first, most of it was theoretical. And there was very little clinical application. So, for example, I knew everything, or I would say not everything, but I knew a lot about the integrity of the gut and leaky gut and mitochondrial function and heavy metals and what they do in our body. All that was incredible. But I didn't know when a patient was sitting in front of me, for example, I didn't know exactly what would be the treatment protocol. What would I recommend them in terms of nutrition or supplement to support phase 1 or phase 2 of detox? I didn't know which labs they need to order, right? So those are pretty essential when a patient comes to see you and they want to pay you $150 or $250 for your advice. You better have some good information and good guidance to provide them. And I did not have that. So it took me several years, multiple other seminars to create those protocols, right? Which is something that I should have got from these programs. The second problem is that there was very little practice building training. And so I had a practice. I was trying to do functional medicine. I spent so much money and time into learning functional and nutritional medicine, but I didn't know how to build a successful practice. I didn't know how to financially translate my knowledge into helping patients and actually making a good income. So this is a picture that reminds me of me and my wife when we looked at the bills at the end of the month, right? It was basically, what have you done? You spend so much money, over $30,000, and we're not getting the income that we need. And so what I ended up doing is reading over 20 books about marketing, going to 5 different seminars that cost me thousands of dollars to learn marketing, practice building, and all of that. So, and that's something that I believe that a program should have, because you don't want to be the best kept secret in town. You want to make a living by doing something that you are passionate about, and it's possible. The third problem is, after I figured out how to grow a practice, I was working so many hours. It was so stressful to educate each patient one after the other, and I just needed support, and I didn't have any support because I graduated and that was it, right? I was out by myself. So I ended up hiring a mentor and paying him $10,000 for 1 year to work with me on figuring out what would be the systems, how do I automate my education, and support me with difficult patients, like difficult cases. So it was such a significant investment, and that's why I was so frustrated. So in order for you to learn from my mistakes, I wanted to give you the 6 tips on how to pick the program that will fit you best, and as well as a review of the different options out there. So the first tip is you have to ask yourself, is this program that I'm looking into focuses on the theoretical knowledge or clinical application? Now, I always believe that there's not a bad or good program. Most of the programs out there are great. It's just a matter, again, they're a good fit for what you're looking for. So I'll give you an example from IFM, which I love what IFM is doing, by the way. They're among the first ones to introduce functional medicine. And I studied with some of their materials, and I can tell you great stuff. But what bothered me with some of the institutions that focus on the theoretical aspect is that most of their modules and training is theoretical. It very much contains a lot of theory, and in the end, you have one module called Applied Functional Medicine Clinical Practice. Now, so majority of your learning is basically focused on the theoretical aspect. So you got to ask yourself, but what am I going to do when I have patients in front of me and I need to provide them with the right guidance, right? So that is one of the issues that we have with some of the programs out there, and that's something that you got to ask yourself, right? So what we have done is basically our program is focused on understanding the triggers of chronic disease, identify those triggers in your patient, what type of screening tools you can use, what type of functional labs, what surveys you can have the patient fill out. So it gives you a lot of information in terms of, oh, they might have mitochondrial dysfunction, they might not oxidize glucose properly, they might have accumulation of heavy metals, right? So we have surveys, we teach you about the labs, and then we teach you a specific how to personalize the treatment plan to each patient using nutritional and herbal medicine, and then how to support them along the way, right? So we have amazing presenters that teach you different topics from micronutrients in chronic condition, how to look. This is an example of how to look and how to work with a mitochondria lab testing, and those are fascinating and all very much clinical. As one of our graduates said, Dr. Christian Wagner said, the training is relevant and valuable for clinical practice. Right? That's one of the feedbacks that we get from our students. So make sure it's practical. The second tip that I want to give you is ask yourself, is the program affiliated or teach based on a specific lab or supplement, right? And you'll be surprised, there's actually, we've seen, I think it was one or two institutions that they teach you based on one company that produces supplement. And to me, that's a big no-no, because obviously they're going to teach you what this company is doing and what this company's agenda is. We want to make sure that you pick a company that is very objective. So for example, when our presenters share with you their recommendation, they show you what type of test to get with which lab that specializes, which one of the 10 labs that are existing in the States today. And then with supplements, we'll show you the evidence from clinical trials, and then we'll recommend a few supplement companies and what products that we have better experience with, but we will never just share with you just the agenda of like one company or one lab's company or one supplement company, because that's a big conflict of interest. Tip number 3, is there one presenter or several professionals sharing their clinical experience? So we've seen programs out there that literally have like one presenter or two presenters. Now, not to say that that's a bad thing. Again, everybody has valuable experience that they can share. It's just a matter of what the approach is. And what we've decided is that we found that there's every person have a different experience and different clinical knowledge that they can contribute. And we wanted to get several presenters. We wanted to get the expert in each of those fields. So for example, Dr. David Musnick, he's a board certified physician that has been certified in internal medicine, sport medicine, orthopedics, and functional medicine provider for over 25 years. So obviously, I can teach the pain management module, but Dr. Musnick is an expert with over close to 30 years experience, and he's probably going to do that best, right? So we bring in all the experts. This is Dr. Zawinski. She's an expert, PhD expert in immunology of chronic disease, and that's what she's teaching, right? So we leave the specific topics to the experts in the field. And this is how Dr. Sanjay Murthy said, great speakers with extremely practical and useful information. So again, you're going to get the top speakers in this program, right? And that's really important. So tip number 4 is, does the program include a comprehensive review of nutritional herbal medicine? And why is that? Functional medicine is powerful, but we're not going to just figure out what's causing our patients their sickness and then prescribe another drug, right? What we're going to do is we're going to figure out what's driving the disease, and then guide them through nutritional and supplement and herbal medicine, right? We're going to do it in a more natural, safer way for our patients. And we know that nutrition and herbs can actually influence and change the epigenetic regulation of our patients. transform somebody's health. So just remember that. In our 5 pillars, when we teach you nutrition, that's included with our functional medicine training. When we teach you nutrition, you're going to learn about inflammatory foods. You're going to learn about how some foods develop, how some foods trigger an immune reaction, and how to test that. You're going to learn about what's in our food, such as chemicals, additives, what's in our water. You're going to learn about metabolism and absorption from a whole different approach than you learn in medical school. We're going to actually teach you about all these nutritional deficiencies and what to look for. And we're going to teach you orthomolecular medicine, which is how we can use specific nutrients, specific herbs as medicine, right? How we can change that biochemical function in our patient's body based on an evidence-based approach to using nutrition. I like this quote by Dr. Lipsky. She's an expert, a professor of clinical nutrition and one of our presenters. She said, you can get the biggest change in someone's health by working with them on their diet, lifestyle, and targeted supplement. And she has been teaching nutritional medicine and practicing nutritional medicine for over 35 years. So she's one of the leading in the field, and she's going to be teaching you when you join our program, nutritional medicine and gut health. So those are really 2 important topics. And then tip number 5 is, does the program include practice building and growth training? Why is that important? Because it's hard to help others when you are struggling, right? So we want to make sure that you have a good income, that you enjoy what you're doing, and just imagine going to work every day when you're helping people and you're earning money by doing something that you love, that you truly love, right? And imagine patients calling you and say, hey, I've been following your recommendation for several weeks now, and my blood sugar level is going down, my joints are feeling better, I have better mobility, I feel more energy, I just feel so much better. Thank you for helping me out, right? So that is where we want you to be. So we include practice building and growth. That will give you an outline of a clear roadmap to create your own vision and your own practice. Learn how to attract your ideal client and enjoy your work. You want to work with the right people. And you want to work smarter, not harder. So for example, we're going to show you how to automate and educate your clients. And our clients, for example, they're educated because every week they get an email with a video, with another educational content from us. So we teach you how to put everything in place, and we even give you those tools so you don't have to create it from scratch. How to turn prospects into loyal patients. So we're going to teach you how to do the consultation so you're going to be successful. How to get the marketing tools that you need. Learn how to get referrals, use social media, how to position yourself as an authority in the field, and increase your revenue and income while doing something that you love. This is one of our graduates, Zerla. She was a physician assistant for several years, and she became a certified functional and nutritional medicine practitioner with us. She established her virtual practice. That was her dream. She didn't want to keep prescribing and administering drugs. She wanted to truly help those patients feel better. And she graduated and established her website. It's called Thriving with Zerla. And she's already seeing patients virtually and enjoying what she's doing. And then the last tip would be to ask yourself, does this functional medicine program include support and guidance even after you graduate? So that's why we are bringing coaching and ongoing support, and to provide you with ideas and innovative solutions for your practice. And I'm only sharing this with you because I struggled once. I spent so much time, so much money. I wasn't really enjoying what I was doing because of the stress that was involved with it. And I wanted a different way to do things. And so that's where having a coach and a mentor and joining our live trainings. Every month we do special live trainings on growing your practice, on resolving different stressful things that might come up, helping you with patients that might be complex,
So that was piece of the puzzle, because there is so much more to building a practice. And that's why we need to look at this whole thing as a partner building your program. And that's what we offer at Healthpreneur Institute. So I don't know if you've been to Build-A-Bear store, but it's like, you know, you do step by approach, or if you're building a puzzle, there were so many pieces to it. And that's what I've realized from 2015 to 2022, that just getting credentials or having a lot of clinical knowledge is not enough if you really want to position yourself as a powerful brand authority that is a practitioner in the marketplace. Then there's so much more that goes into it. So the way we've designed our program is basically, it's a transformational program that begins with your understanding your true value and captures the form of the powerful intentions and procedure results that you're looking for. So to create a life of freedom, like Zerla, you saw she has a virtual practice, and some people might want a hybrid model, some people might want just one-way model, and all of that is available in your Powerpreneur Build Your program. And we really help you expand your business horizon. And that's why we have 4 pillars when it comes to how this program is built. There's new knowledge and tools that we introduce you to. And some of it is, of course, from the American Academy of Functional Health. There's ongoing visibility and credibility that we built for you. Now that one is done it for you, which is pretty awesome. Like, most people struggle with that. Immediate profitability and monetization is a result of the first 2. And then, of course, once you've established the first 3 pillars, you can scale and duplicate the model. And that's where a lot of leveraged passive residual income comes into place, right? So there's no cookie cutter. Everyone's different. And that's why we have to take, I would say, a customized approach. And that's why we built this program. So there's core courses, and then there is customizable courses. And each one has a lot of details that go into it, but core courses is what I would like to shed some light on right now, which is the Powerpreneur Mindset, Practitioner Authority via Personal Branding, LinkedIn Methodology, NutriBioTest Integration, Functional Medicine Business Symposium that we do, and corporate wellness events. These are really, really key to seeing profitability, because at the end of the day, what matters is how many clients you've served and what type of protocols you've built and how much money comes into your account from that. So let's be honest, like, yeah, we want to do good, but we have bills to pay. Like, we cannot survive on air and water. We have rent, we have lots of subscriptions, we have so many things. Even having a virtual online model is not cheap, because there's a lot of subscriptions that go into building a practice. So that's why we are offering special, because we did a soft launch and we've enrolled a few students already in the cohort. So what you could do is build your core and decide how you want to go about it. And I would say the best way to find me is on LinkedIn, or you can send me a text and just say Powerpreneur on 858-899-8880. Again, text me Powerpreneur on 858-899-8880. So that would be the best way to find out more about this. There is going to be investments needed, of course, but there is an apprenticeship program that you can get started with right away. And then you can decide what core programs you want to build, or even customizable programs that you want to add. And that's what it is. So it's not too complicated. We figured out the steps, we know what it takes, and we have a lot of resources for you, along with massive teams that can help. So with that being said, we're going to end this, and I am so excited to offer this as a part of the Academy that